Update. Am I the a-hole for abandoning my wheelchair-bound best friend in a mall parking lot? Original post. I've been friends with Amy for about 11 years. 3 years ago, she was involved in a car accident, which left her wheelchair-bound. I'm 16 now, and I've been her best friend since I was 5. Her crash was a rough time for me personally as well, of course not as rough as hers, since my friend was in a car crash. And I had just lost my dog. But I put her ahead of losing my dog, even though 13-year-old me was wrecked, and tried my best to be her rock while she was going through tough times. After she got better, we hung out and things were the same as before. Just that, as time went on, I felt like the power balance wasn't equal anymore. I was always taking care of her, and everything had to go her way. To an extent, I was okay with this, since I couldn't fathom going through what she was going through, so I kept my mouth shut and was there for her. Every phone call, every text, every "can you do this for me?" I did it. But at one point I found that I held some resentment toward her, and this grew as everyone around me just expected me to take care of her. I couldn't do certain things because it reminded her of when she could walk, and I couldn't hang out with other people because she felt like she was losing me. I had to get up whenever she wanted something, pick up whatever food she ordered, tie her shoelaces, carry her bags around, walk her dog, take her things to class, and so on. Whenever I complained or tried to vent, I was always hit with, "But imagine what she's going through, poor thing." And so, the resentment grew and grew. This blew up yesterday. We were at the mall picking things out, even though because of my asthma I really didn't want to go out, and she got caught with some unpaid clothes in her bag. She just blamed me, in front of everyone in the store, and only when the security camera showed her putting something in her bag did she admit to lying. I was furious. And after I called a car for her, I told her, "Stay away from me and find someone else to take care of your lazy butt, since I'm not your freaking mom," and left her in the surprisingly well-lit parking lot. Her mother, who was absent through a lot of this time due to God knows what, phoned my mother, saying I broke her daughter's heart and abandoned her in a parking lot. And everyone, except for my dad, is telling me that I crossed a line and put her in danger, and to put myself in her shoes. Everyone is telling me that I'm not a true friend and that I'm selfish. It's kind of getting in my head, and I don't know if I'm as right as I thought I was. Sorry about how long this is. This was about 2.5 years worth of venting, but am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Apart from the justifiable resentment, she committed a crime and tried to blame it on you. That has nothing to do with her being disabled, and everything to do with her having no morals and no regard for you. And the "you can't do this because I can't," and "you can't have other friends because me," is so selfish and manipulative. This person is not a friend. Tell everyone she framed you for theft, despite being her unpaid full-time caretaker for almost 3 years. I'm fuming. Exactly. I'd get out in front of her and tell the actual story before the friend can paint a picture in which she's the innocent victim and OP is this evil person who abandoned the poor, helpless girl. Not the a-hole. Someone here is not a true friend, and it isn't you. She has taken advantage of you and topped it off by trying to blame you for her own crime. This person is not someone you need in your life. Yep, not the a-hole. And by the way, she's wheelchair-bound. She's not an invalid. She has the mental capacity to take of herself at a mall parking lot for 20 minutes till her ride shows up. Sounds to me like she got used to 3 years of a personal servant and everyone else bending over backwards for her, and she ended up with a huge entitlement complex. Stealing clothes and blaming it on her friend is definitely an entitled thing to do, especially because it sounds like she could get her jelly spine parents to give her however much money she needed for any clothes she wants. The fact that the people around OP and her are still insisting that OP stay her personal servant just means that entitlement will stay and get worse. Either that, or now that the people around them don't have a convenient person to force to be her personal servant, she'll actually have to do stuff for herself. I honestly think that everyone who brushed off OP's complaints with, "Imagine what she's going through," is just as bad as her, as it seems like they couldn't be bothered to take care of her, so they made OP do it. Now for the update. I did not expect this much attention, so this was very unexpected. Thank you guys for being so nice to me and for giving me advice. I really appreciate it. 1. Sorry about the term wheelchair bound. I didn't know that was offensive, and I never really talked to her about her wheelchair. It's a sensitive topic for her, and I didn't want to push, so I never really learned the correct terminology. I can't change the title, but I'm sorry. 2. Dog thing. Yeah, my resentment kinda started with my dog being forgotten. While it is nothing compared to what she went through, I really like the dog, and I had to bury him myself, which started my unjustified and immature resentment. I was mad no one even talked about the dog. Totally petty, but honestly, that started it. 3. I never really resolved my resentment, which is my bad, because in the place I live, it's horrible for people with disabilities. As I accompanied her in her life, it gave me some insight into how hard life was for people who couldn't walk. And so my resentment would be suppressed with this feeling of gratefulness for my ableness. 4. I left her at the exit of the parking lot, and there were glass doors to the outside. She had her phone, which she could use to call her mother. Don't know if she did though. And there was security within yelling reach. She could move around. Still, it wasn't great leaving her like that. It wasn't cool, and I could have hurt her. Also, for those wondering, the car was the car we took to get to the mall, so we knew the driver and it fit her wheelchair. So what I did, I told my parents the full story. My mother was fuming when she called Amy's parents, and they said they would talk to her. I also called everyone who was against me, so I could tell them the full story without having to be mean or unnecessarily public. Most of them quickly gave me the "not the a-hole." I called her too, and told her that leaving her in the parking lot was wrong, but I wouldn't apologize for it, as I could not forgive her for what she did. I told her to take care of herself from now on, and that I wouldn't be her friend anymore. My dad got me a new dog, and my parents hosted a real burial for my last dog, just the 3 of us, but it helped me a lot. My dad told me he was proud of me for what I did, and talked to me about boundaries and how important they are. In all honesty, I'm sort of glad this happened, so I wouldn't have stayed friends with her any longer. I learned a lot about boundaries, toxic friendships, and how to talk about my emotions. Thank you guys for being so supportive. I really didn't expect this many people to read this, but thank you. I'm not friends with her anymore, but I've got my dog, so it's fine. Next story. Am I the a-hole for taking an Uber home instead of sitting on a man's lap? So my best friend, Sarah female 22, recently got a new boyfriend, James male 23, and she is over the moon about him. Sarah is one of the very few people I hang out with. She recently met James' friend group, a group of guys, and they invited her to go on a beach trip with them. Sarah begged me to go with her and kept insisting I join, even when I declined the offer about 4 times. Eventually, I just agreed to go to get her off my back about being sad and alone. I was told that I would have a ride. Sarah and I were the last to be picked up, and when they pulled up, there were 4 guys in a 5-passenger car. I saw this as my way out. I said, "Oh, looks like there isn't enough room for both of us. You can go enjoy the beach with your boyfriend. I don't mind staying behind." Sarah told me that it wasn't a big deal if she had to sit on James's lap to make it work. Immediately, I felt on edge. Turns out, James was the one driving and said he wouldn't trust anyone else to drive his car. He told me that I would be the one sitting on someone's lap because there's no way he would let Sarah do that. I didn't know these guys at all. I pulled Sarah aside and told her that I was uncomfortable, thinking that she would help me out. Instead, she encouraged me, saying that she thought I would have fun and maybe even get a date. She is so into James and had been talking about this trip nonstop for over a week, so I decided to just do it to make her happy. 2 of the 3 guys in the back, Sarah sat up front next to James, offered up their laps. I just picked the guy with the most legroom. We live about 45 minutes from the nearest beach, so I thought it wouldn't be too bad. Except that I was told on the drive that we were actually going to a beach an hour and a half away instead. My mood just became more and more sour. I never once relaxed and eventually found myself quietly fuming once my emotions set in. The boys I was squeezed into the back with just talked around me, physically leaning over me constantly, brushing up against me. Once we got to the beach, we set up, and I finally found a moment to relax. I ate a sandwich I packed and read a book, while Sarah and James were lovey-dovey, and the guys messed around in the ocean. I was asked twice why I only packed a sandwich for myself. Not jokingly either. Not once had I been asked to bring a single thing. When it came to the part where everyone was getting in the car, I just told James and Sarah that I had called an Uber to pick me up, because I didn't want to sit on anyone's lap for another hour and a half. Sarah tried to argue, but my ride showed up, so I left. I got a call from Sarah a few hours later. She called me a bad friend for ditching everyone. When I told her how the whole day was making me feel awful, she told me I was being selfish and that I had been acting like a bee all day. I do not think I deserve that, but I am also pretty paranoid that I did something wrong. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I wouldn't do that regardless of who I know in the car or our genders in case the car crashes. That said, if you weren't against the lap-sitting idea in general, why didn't you suggest sitting on Sarah's lap or vice versa? Sarah is a very petite girl, so I suggested that she sit on my lap, which she was against because she wanted me to get out there. Geez, that almost makes it sound like she wanted to set you up with one of them. Or she just didn't want to share a seat and was making excuses. Anyway, if you don't fancy becoming a human missile one day, please don't travel like this again. Not the a-hole. Apparently, being Sarah's friend means being okay with whatever sacrifices you need to make in order to make her happy. Ditch her. She is not your friend. And the sandwich thing too. As if she owed them anything at all after how disrespectful they were. Ignore them all. Get your own food. Learn some manners. Not the a-hole, but please use this as a sign to respect your gut instinct about your boundaries. Don't get in the metaphorical car next time. Also, please understand that sitting on people's laps and or not wearing seat belts in cars could kill you. I used to keep my leg propped up on the dash on long trips sometimes. Then I saw a Reddit post with the x-rays of people who did that and got into a car accident. Safety first. My heroin-addicted second cousin's baby mama got her hips shattered when they crashed. Boy did cuz know a good way to change an otherwise not-at-fault accident into an at-fault accident. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not giving my coworker a ride after he didn't spot me $1 at the vending machine? I usually give my coworker a ride on the way back from work, usually driving 5 miles out of my way per day to drop him off at his place because he doesn't have a car. I've been doing that for about 2 years now and haven't asked for anything, and he has never offered. Yesterday, I was at the vending machine and wanted a soda. I was short $1 and had left my wallet in my car. I would usually go get my wallet, but it takes forever to wait for the elevators at my workplace, so I asked if he could spot me $1 for the soda. He straight up refused and said, "Just use your own money, man. I don't really give money to friends or coworkers. Sorry." I was taken aback by that comment because I've probably spent well over $1,500 in gas over the past 2 years for this guy, and he can't even spot me $1 just this once? I got pretty upset by that, and once it hit 5, I told him I'm not giving him free rides anymore. He seemed upset and said I was petty. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You asked him for a small favor and he refused and shamed you. You have no obligation to keep offering him a ride, though you should know that this will drastically deteriorate your relationship and they will make a big deal of it. Thankfully, we work in completely different departments. I don't think you should worry about what the others say. You can repeat this story to other people and say that you have learned a lesson not to be nice to colleagues. Not the a-hole. I wouldn't even call it petty in my humble opinion. The coworker doesn't believe in involving money with friends. Not a terrible idea, but completely ignores all the money you've spent on him over time? I would imagine, even if he originally was, he was no longer appreciative of the rides and more so expect them. I think it would be best to no longer give rides as a favor and charge full value if you want to continue giving them. He's made it clear they would not do the same for you. Side note, my brother used to be a server at a restaurant and gave a dishwasher a ride home for weeks. He never asked for anything, but did it just to help out. He only stopped after he watched that dishwasher take money off his table while bussing it. Good deeds are great, but always be mindful of your surroundings. Sometimes the cookie just isn't enough for the mouse. Plus, OP only mentioned the cost of gas. What about the wear and tear on the car? 5 miles Monday to Friday for 2 years? Adds up. The time spent also adds up. Dude owed OP like over $3,000 and couldn't spare a dollar? He could have just lied and said he didn't have it. But nah, dude wanted to shame him. Sorry man, I don't give rides to coworkers, only friends. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to switch my vacation dates because my coworker has kids? I, 30 male, put in my vacation request months ago for a specific week. I made plans, booked flights, and was looking forward to it. Everything was approved by our manager with no issues. Last week, my coworker Lisa, 35 female, found out that her kid's school break falls during the same week. She came to me and asked if I'd be willing to swap my vacation for a different time, so she could take her kids on a trip. I told her I was sorry, but I had already made non-refundable bookings and didn't want to change my plans. She got frustrated and said, it must be nice to have so much flexibility, implying that since I don't have kids, my plans aren't as important. I told her that just because I don't have kids doesn't mean my time off is any less valuable. Now she's giving me the cold shoulder at work, and another co-worker mentioned that I could have been more understanding. But I don't think it's fair to expect me to give up my plans just because she has kids. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She's delusional. Even if you show her receipts and show her how much it would cost you to reschedule, she's still gonna dislike you. Just make sure to document everything, in case she starts creating a hostile work environment. This, and I'm saying this as a mother, she had her kids' school schedule since August 2024 at the latest. Her failure to plan isn't your problem, not the a-hole. This, spring break is never casually decided the month before. She's known, or she doesn't pay attention enough to have known. What flexibility? You booked your holiday and it is non-refundable. If anything, this is completely non-flexible. Even if the tickets were refundable, still zero obligation for OP to give up the time. Perhaps he's traveling with someone else who would then have to deal with switching around their own time off. No is a complete sentence. OP doesn't owe Lisa an explanation. Her poor planning is not OP's problem. I've been talked to by HR at my only office job about rescheduling vacation days too much and how it makes it difficult on the business to work around me flippantly changing vacation dates. I changed 2 vacations last minute because a coworker had a funeral come up, and another coworker suddenly got his kids for a week, and I was just burning my vacation before year end and playing video games. Management and HR just see vacations being changed last minute, and no reason why it is happening.